up here. So anyways, if we're going to come to a point where only rich people can run for office, that's pretty damn sad. You know, if it comes to a point where she can self-fund herself for $9,000 and Miss Ritter can't, and all she, can self-fund is maybe 100, I hate to tell you, but the rich person's winning every time. That's just the way it is. And if you don't believe me, well, you watch. But I'm telling you, it's a shame that that people can't take campaign contributions from union membership and people from economic development interests when she already has the interest. It's not like, again, that she wasn't interested in economic development. They gave her, an economic developer gave her a donation, and now she's pro-economic development. She's always been pro-economic development, pro-business. Big difference. So I just think that, when you looked at, or when I looked at some of the things with Mr. Reynolds, the amount of money that he took in, when I found out in the back channels that he wasn't supporting it, after the amount of money he's taken from developers and unions, I find it preposterous that a $3,000 donation from economic development interests changed his mind on this. I think it was probably more that she ran it against him and Miss Van Wert, and I don't know if it's paybacks or what, but we can move forward on that. So I'm just disappointed and discouraged that you would not support a great candidate and a person of high ethical standards due to the very same donors that you have taken them from, and Councilwoman Van Wert is a self-funder, and that's tough to argue with. It's tough to beat. So I also found it interesting that the Diamonds, Barbara and Dr. Diamond, they gave $2,000 to a candidate that Mrs. Van Wert was 100% in support of. She didn't have a problem with that at all. Never raised that question. She had fundraisers at the Diamonds houses. Never had a problem with that. Never mentioned that. So I would, and I'll be done in a minute, I would just expect in the future, if there's questions about historic Bethlehem coming up, if you want to truly be ethical, I would expect you to recuse yourself from any vested interest in the historic district. I mean, if you really want to talk about ethics and live up to it, let's have that discussion. I'm open for debate and discussion. If you want to just sit there and ignore what I said, that's fine. But I think everybody deserves an opportunity to have us discuss it openly and honestly and fairly. I'm trying to, I know I'm excited right now, I'm a little irritated about it, but I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm just saying, that there's a lot of inconsistencies, a lot, that I think are extremely unfair to tell someone who has been nothing but ethical in her life that you are unethical because she wouldn't agree to something you demanded. And with that, I wait for responses, if there's any.
Take a break, drink some water, think about Ms. Kelchner.
And the pastor.
Yes, Ms. McGraw.
Thank you, President Padron. I just wanted to make a comment or response in my way to Mr. Antalic's comment in the beginning, because like him, the Southside issue is dear in my heart. Southside Vision Housing Committee hosted a meeting last week that invited members of council and the administration. They have been doing a lot of work on this issue, and they had a great research that they showed to us. I know Ms. Reynolds, Dr. Van Wert, and actually Grace Smith was there too. And I encourage all of the other members of council that were not there to try to get the information. They had a PowerPoint presentation, they've done a lot of research, and it was very helpful to be there, to listen to it. And they also had residents actually that live in the area for many of them for many years and generations, and it was very helpful to hear them speak up. I couldn't even sleep last night because I was so upset, especially because I heard the urgency in which they were speaking, and so have we, right? I think that I immediately start working on it. They have some recommendation. They have presented some recommendation for the administration and for us. And I know that because it's been so long that you have been asking the question, and again, so have I. I just want to say I am not going to go anywhere until something is done. Or that will be my end in City Council, because then there's no purpose if that cannot be changed. I just want to assure you that just because we are not talking about it every night as you have, and you have the right, and I'm glad you have, we are working on it. And as of the last meeting last week that the Housing Committee presented to us, I think that, I mean, to me, and I said this to Mr. Antalik before, I'm glad, and I think I said it a few meetings ago, when the president of the Historic Commission sent the letter to us. And I said the only reason I was glad to read the letter was to realize that I'm not crazy, or that I'm not just whining about something that is just dearest to my heart. So housing, it is getting to be a big distress in the south side, and we are looking forward to make some changes in the near future. That's all I would say. And again, thank you for always keeping us on track. That's all, President. Thank you.
And Mr. Antalix, we weren't laughing at your comments. I think there was a remark made because you said that nobody needed a 5-bedroom house, but I can attest to the fact that some people do. I got a smile at you. Huh? Anyone else have any business? Mr. Colon.
Thank you, President Walter. I'll be brief and pretty quick, but we heard from a member of council up here tonight talk about the, that opinions and ideas bring in campaign donations. And we've also heard, in my time on council, conversations about there could be a perception that campaign donations shape opinions and ideas. And I think, and in all transparency, I was going to support Carol Ritter tonight. Everybody up here knows that. But I also hope that this reopens the conversation that if we want to talk about putting some rules forward and having some kind of set of standards to follow for everybody moving forward, that I hope, if anything comes of that, that we revisit these conversations and see where there might be some consensus, or at least majority on council, that we could, the next time something like this comes up, have something to refer to and go from there. Thank you, President Walton.
Thank you, Mr. Colon. Dr. Van Wert?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Colon, I think that if anything, this experience has brought into strict definition the fact that we need to have some understanding of when is recusal important. I want to clarify that there's never been any talk about you can't take donations. The fact is, with recusal, you can take whatever you want within whatever rules are already in place, but if that person's item comes before you, you have to recuse yourself, and our challenge is to come up with limits and timeframes for that type of discussion. But the opportunity to take donations is always there for you. But I do agree with you, Mr. Colon. I think what this has told us is that we really do need to have some framework here, because it's clear that there is not a general understanding of when the perception of a conflict of interest is important. And if that's not innately known, then we need to actually have to spell out the rules. Then we're gonna do that. And so I think that's a challenge council has in front of us right now. Thank you.
Mr. Callahan?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would agree with Councilman Cologne, and to some extent, Dr. Van Wert's comments. The problem is, there's no rules or anything in writing, okay, about any campaign contribution. And this woman has done nothing illegal. She hasn't done anything unethical, and she's done less of what everybody else has done. as far as campaign contributions. And again, a majority of it came from the union membership. Are we now to recuse ourselves from, union membership votes on economic development projects because unions gave us money? I'm pro-union. I don't know about you. I don't know about Mr. Reynolds, but I am. And I would hope that you would stand up for that. And we've heard nothing. So I have never suggested that you can't carry out your duties and responsibilities in an unbiased way. I've never said that to Mr. Reynolds or you, Dr. Van Wert. But for someone to accuse someone else of not being able to do that is ludicrous. Especially when there's nothing in writing. I mean, you're making up the rules as you're going along, and to me that's just unjust and unfair. So I guess we'll have